I was overjoyed to get a message off a viewer. The Bean said, can you make a video on how to prepare for a one-shot or Dungeons & Dragons session as a DM? What notes should you have, what NPC info, etc. Wizards of the Coast does a terrible job when it comes to educating new DMs. And I want more of that. You tell me what you want me to make and I imagine I would do it. As a new DM, when your session is coming up and you've got to prep, you start with a 0, don't you? I'm going to go small and start with a one-shot and then expand to show you what I do for bigger things. So I am going to be taking an adventure out of Prepared, a book of dozen adventures for 5th edition. There is also Prepared 2, Creature Codex Lairs, Sly Flourish's Fantastic Adventures, all of which I recommend. But that's not what you asked. Let's get the camera moved so I can show you what's in this book. The adventure that we're running is actually this one on the front, where there's goblins inside an upturned cart. So that's a good idea for this as well. The impregnable fortress of Dib is an upturned cart. Underneath it, they've dug it out, a little pathway into the main room, and that is it. It's such a basic one-shot or part of an adventure you can find, or I've found. It's literally area 1, area 2 inside here, and then down it went area 3. Backstory to this is that several months ago, Dib Halfling Chewer and his cronies were ejected from a nearby goblin clan for indiscriminate wrestling. And in these books, they have red text that you read to the players, and then the black is the DM notes. Very simple, actually. These are worthwhile. Assaulting the fortress is a combat encounter. The fortress may take 2 of the following actions on initiative 10. It has the options of arrow barrage, ranged weapon attacks +4, 5 piercing damage, or spear thrusts out of the holes, +4, 5 damage. Fairly hot oil spray blobs of oil at all creatures within 20 feet, DC 10 dexterity save or 2 fire damage. A save takes half. The adventurers can kill the fortress, basically destroy it. AC of 14, 40 hit points. It is resistant to piercing damage and vulnerable to fire. Once the fortress reaches 0 HP, the goblins retreat underground to area 3. Kicking in the door. The door at the back of the wagon is reinforced. It's a DC 17 strength save. They can try and lift the wagon up. It takes 2 rounds to lift it up. Each round requires a successful DC 17 strength athletics check. If the wagon takes fire damage, it has 50% chance of bursting into flames. So they destroy that, get in, climb down, walk around, there's a trap. It's covered in debris so the players don't know it. Get some goblins firing from range and maybe some others charging in to give a variation. The leader hides behind this throne. And rather than fight to the death, these are all wrestlers, and especially the main one, Dib. He will want to wrestle the players. So let's look at my notes, and as I said, I already did this video. So they see an upturned cart, arrow slits, +4, 5 piercing damage, spikes, +4, 5 piercing damage, oil comes out, DC 10 or 2 fire damage, smelly moat is just purely detail. So the back door has an AC of 17 to kick in, the place itself is AC 14, the oil comes out here and has 20 foot, out of here and has 20 foot. And that's it. A ladder down into this kind of area. There's a trap in the floor, 12 perception to see it, 12 to disarm it with thieves' tools or whatever. But while they're disarming it, have some goblins attack them. DC 13 dex save to jump out of the way of the trap, and 4 damage or 2 on a save. The guy behind here has put his treasure in the chair. Coins and a design of this building and complex on a map, sort of thing, on a piece of paper. Or make stuff up. Dib will wrestle you. Normal goblin stats. This goes on the DM side. That is 5 damage, 1d6 +2 if you can be bothered rolling. Short bow or scimitar, the same stats. That's on the player side. But the boss, I gave a little bit more AC, and I put wrestler. He's gonna throw down his. He's gonna throw down his weapons. Ask to fight. A little bit of sample dialogue, perhaps. Wait or halt. I challenge you to sweaty hugging, and he basically pulls up the arm parts, the over shoulder parts of a wrestling thing he's half dressed in. That is essentially my notes for that. But I do actually have my notes, what I made when actually running this adventure. I thought that was worryingly too little. Because of that, I sketched out this basically road through a town. So this is the main road. Down here, what have we got? Tavern, stables, doctors, just for bullies. So these people, some normal commoners or something, can sort of shout at the party. This was in my mind. Or party can go down the well and do an underground adventure, which I just make up on the spot. Or there's a girl and a boy, child, and the girl will talk the dialogue and the boy will pickpocket the person with the worst perception roll. If they walked over this way, they'd have attack of wolves. And I thought this was what world building was. You had everything in place. Weapons, armour, alchemist, a goblin ambush on the way out of town, but never used that, never needed it. But you know, some people might need to feel that they do that. You want 2 or 3 encounters around the session anyway, ideally, even though this one is one and on its own. A further thing I like to do is have cultist cards or commoners or, you know, regular folk rather than monsters, so that I can just flick it round and use the basic statistics easy enough. I have attributes for NPCs, monotonous talking, S sounds like Zs, lots of ums, and as I get a new NPC I just put their name there so that I can see straight away on the front cover of my notes what they actually do. So I'm currently running Tomb of Annihilation, okay? My first job was to read the entire book. It's got loads of locations, and all I did was boil them down to the most minimum so I could read this over and over and be like, Hisari, ruined Yuan-Ti city at the foot of a volcano and half the city sank. Anything else I can just make up. Needles Bones is a place. It's a sinkhole. There's frogs. There's quippers. There's something I can't mention for fear of spoiling it. But that's how I do it. I just boil the things down to notes, and your notes get less and less the more you're into a long adventure like a book like that. You already know it because you're playing it week in, week out, so you know what the enemy's up to, even if you're going off the book, you know, off rails. See this map? I was like, oh, that's a lot, we're going to walk around that. I drew the map out myself, and in here is like, oh, it's a Yuan-Ti pureblood, oh, it's for brood guards, there's a triceratops, there's a giant snake over here, there's some zombies over here. But you know what? When running the game, I didn't even look at that. I just thought, there's some brood guards over here. There's some other things. You know, I have a cards room like I showed you, but they're monster versions of these. I'm like, yeah, there's 2 of them, 3 of them. That's what I mean by winging it. You're doing what's in the adventure, but you might not be doing it to the letter. Right, there's a place in this book, and I don't want to spoil it. It's a place that isn't relevant to the story, but it's just a location that they can spend a session, should they discover it, because the land of Chult is huge. And a lot of the book is just alphabetised places they could run into. Boom. Camp Righteous has a huge statue, and basically there are some sort of goblins all throughout this place, and then there's a proper, you know, place to investigate here. Let me show you my genuine notes. Right, Camp Righteous. Ex-Order of the Gauntlet base camp. Locals call it House of the Crocodile. Camp was reported as being overrun with undead just 4 months ago. This is information that if people, you know, players ask me about, then somebody might give this information. It's run by these special goblins in the campaign. There's a goblin boss called Yoka. Believe the shrine is cursed and they wear wooden masks. I've even got some text here for Yoka. I had a vision of treasure inside the shrine that could make me a great figure in the tribe, so we've spent the last 10 days trying to work up the courage to enter, but then your PCs will ask you something else and you've got to like just riff on that, make it up then. If they all go into this shrine and they come back out when there's an ambush, because the Bateri goblins get them to go in and sort of take the treasure, and I had them say, yeah, well, can we share the treasure? You go in, but we'll share the treasure. Obviously they weren't going to do that. So they came out, there was these 4 axe beaks, which are little dinosaur birds, and another big dinosaur to fight. Then, as all the maps are numbered in the real book, I just boiled it down: a poisonous snake, some ruined tents, a buried shrine, burned shrine, but there's actually a holy symbol to be found, small baby axe beak in a pen, and then it squawks if it's bothered, alarming 5 other adult axe beaks to come. Loads of toilets, but one has a corpse in, which has ruined scale mail, a warhammer, a pouch with 5 gemstones, 10 GP each, and there's a little bit of text that I can pull in the book if they actually ask a local about things and I need to go on more depth. But then the shrine itself, I just drew the shrine out. It's where they enter through the feet, and there's a thing that happens here, thing that happens here. They climb up, there's a puzzle, they climb up again, there's a door to do with that puzzle, cobwebs, into the main room, up a staircase, and then all the traps that they trigger: scything blade, 18 dex save, 4 separate DC 12 strength checks to secure the blades from doing that again, magical flames, glyph of thunder wave, thunder damage, and then you get knocked onto the trap before you get blown off here onto the trap you just sort of passed. There's a treasure is an alchemy jug. That's it really. That was like a 3-hour session. You know, the DM's role is so important, but it's only the skeleton. You provide a skeleton, the players and you flesh it out. You don't know what they're going to say. You bounce back off them. But you sort of at least have an idea of what they're working through. And a lot of the time, I mean, let's be honest, you do it wrong. You look down and you go, oh, they should have triggered that trap, and I forgot. All you do is move the trap ahead of them and come up with some way that it goes off there. So they're like, all right, I feel better now. They had the test that the game was trying to throw at them. And if you've got an encounter or a square that might be a pressure plate, don't stress about it. Try and get it in the right spot. But as I say, it's floating in the air. It doesn't exist anywhere until the players goes, I look round the corner, I'll say click. Right, you've heard the click of a trap. What do you do? And you give them that click moment. It's like stepping on a mine. I'm like, you don't know what it's going to be, whether it's going to be poison gas, whether it's going to be a rolling boulder, whether it's going to be a scything thing at your head. Do you duck? Do you roll? Do you jump back? I like to give them that, oh, you've set off a trigger, I'm going to give you one chance to perform a move. So if they roll, do they luckily roll the fiery breath? Or is rolling in front of a rolling boulder a bad move? These are useful. Things like these you can get online, and they get more and more higher leveled but manageable to run. Although, again, you always end up making your own notes. It might be a massive campaign, but you've just got to have enough to fill out the however long session. Which means I always have backup encounters, you know, that so if I'm stuck, I'm like, oh well, yeah, this guy, okay, I mean, I've pulled out Allosaurus. This Allosaurus comes around the corner, okay, that's going to take 30 minutes to run. In Tomb of Annihilation, when I went into the Yuan-ti temple, I had loads of Yuan-ti cards. I just pull one out of this guy's are this, and I'd show them that and say, oh, this guy's are this. Because what I do is I photograph these generally, or bits from the location, and I'm firing them to my telly as we're playing from behind the screen. So they're looking at the map, or they're looking at, oh, this, you're fighting this dude. I even have NPCs that are in the book photographed, so when I'm talking as them, I might sometimes flip to them, so they get that's who I'm talking to. That's just my style though. You'll have your own style, and you'll find your own way of doing it. You might not have all the things at your disposal that I have. Other people have those massive rooms full of 3D terrain. Beautiful. But I end up setting up this is the map. I might have a one scene set up, and then I'll just have my grid paper. I'm like, yeah, but you can imagine this is where you are, and you need a huge battlefield for the spells and the damage and all the cool combat, moving about within a combat. And a lot of that becomes theatre of the mind, or maybe just figures on the map. So we can go deeper. I can give you a video about the sense that I create for the players, you know, the music, all this and that, if you really want. But yeah, I hope that helps somebody. If it does, come on, subscribe, please. Click like, comment. Even bad comments help me out because the algorithm doesn't know it's a bad comment. So insult away. Anyway, hey, I hope that helps. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another helpful video.